Hey everybody, good morning.
Thank you.
Joey, I wanna look at you a little bit here. Anybody have Allbirds on right now? Let's see how well you're doing. Anybody? Right there. Wow.
Yeah. Front row.
That's cool. I've just
play.
ordered 4 pairs. Not because I like you. I can't be editorially corrupted. But my team said I needed to be more hip. So can I see one of your shoes for a second? So you have the chalk color on.
Yeah, this is actually a limited edition we
So
did
let's
with Shake Shack.
So can I just take off your shoe here for a second? Let's just see here. I just want to, like, you know, we got little socks on there. That's good. Are these recyclable?
I'm
too?
traveling today, so I do.
So that's
socks
good.
when I
So
travel.
I'm just interested in the question of sustainability. You're a business guy, and so I'm skeptical. What is this shoe made of? You know, show me the sustainability case of this shoe.
So this entire upper is made out of a
Show them, not me.
closed loop process that extracts wood pulp from eucalyptus. Does this in a way that sucks out so much carbon out of the atmosphere. It's probably the lowest footprint kind of textile you can use. Lyocell is the technical term. We've got bio-derived eyelets, recycled plastic bottle here. This insole is made out of it's polyurethane, but it's done with castor bean oil, which is one of the lowest carbon footprint veg oils on the planet, lined with a supple merino wool layer that you guys will enjoy without socks.
Right.
And the bottom, I'd love to tell this story, but we co-developed a new foam. This is the largest component material used in footwear, and we went down to Brazil and worked with a company down there to take petroleum out of this and replace it with sugarcane, and a chemical process to use the waste stream of sugarcane to put it in the bottom. So. This is as thoughtful, I think, as you can get, and by the way, far from perfect. So we're still doing a ton to make this better.
So is this like the most sustainable shoe in the world?
I would say it's the lowest carbon footprint and the lowest water use in the world.
Wow. And
by quite a lot.
Fascinating.
Can I put this back on?
And are Nike and Adidas shaking in fear? Well, let me ask you a question.
I doubt
because
that.
I'm asking because you're now a billion-dollar company. Your company, affectionately called a unicorn company. You're growing. You're doing this, and part of the interest that I have in sustainability is the success of sustainable firms making it work. And you have these gargantuan firms out there, and part of the question is, do you eventually buy them and make them sustainable? Do you seduce them or shame them into becoming more sustainable? You know, if you don't affect the Nikes and the Adidases and the Clarks or whomever made my unsustainable shoe. You know, I think that, that we're talking about boutiques. And so how do you take what you're doing from being a boutique into something that is truly globally scaled?
I love that question. Yeah, we went and we talked to Nike about buying them, and they weren't interested.
Yeah?
No, but I think it's a really smart question. It goes back to the why we started the company. So I had a background in biomaterials, and I was working at a biotech company where we were trying to take small organisms, feed them renewable feedstocks, make high performance chemicals out of them, and sell them into brands like the ones you described. And what I found is they didn't really care. And digging a little bit deeper, it's like, the athletic companies want to make people jump higher. They don't want to make the world better. That's not what they stand for consumers. And so what the conversation that I kept having was, can you just do what we do now and just do it cheaper? It was just a pure sourcing conversation, and that was very frustrating. So what I thought, and this is around the time my knight in shining armor came in from New Zealand, and my co-founder, Tim Brown, with an idea for a wool shoe, was instead of pushing out a huge volume of material that is renewable, so making an impact through the actual kind of mass balance or the amount of material, we could actually do it through marketing leadership and product development leadership. So curating the really cool materials like that and showing other brands that consumers do actually care. And I think our early success, and I'd say it's very early, but our early success in showing in the first 2 years we existed, we sold 1 million pairs of shoes. And so that's enough to be on the radar, and that says people do care. People want an amazing, no-compromise shoe that is great for the experience of wearing them every day throughout your activities, They're great from a style perspective, and they're no compromise on the planet.
So from a creation perspective, I read about Tim Brown, your partner. He was some sort of superstar soccer player. Said, I need, these shoes suck that I'm wearing. We got to make new shoes. And if what I've read is correct, you guys worked for about 8 years, and you had pretty hideous shoes at the beginning that you had come up with. Is that, one of the articles said, you finally achieved non-hideous shoes. So how did you, as partners in this, not kill each other in the process? How did you go through 8 years of a commitment to the kind of, renewables, the sustainable mission, and not wither?
It sometimes looks like a little bit of an overnight success. People say, "Oh, you guys have been around for 2 years," but it really has been a labor of love. More for Tim, to be honest, than myself. So I was working in a different labor of love, and that was this biotech company. I was leading the chemicals division for 6 years through this, and getting a ton of skills and a ton of learning about how big businesses think about environmentally sensible product and environmentally sensible sourcing, and had my own frustrations along the way. And that kind of, the confluence of timing of peak frustration for both of us led us to come together and really start this as a different kind of a company. And it wasn't just about merino wool. The idea that we came together, and I remember it very distinctly when he visited me in San Francisco to start talking seriously about building a business, was if we were going to do a shoe company, neither of us really cared about shoes. We didn't care about retail. I was in biotech.
Have you ever said that before in front of the public? It could be a zinger.
Well, I care about it now.
Shoe company, you do care. Okay.
But we didn't care about it.
How
it wasn't
ugly
really
were your
that.
early shoes?
They weren't that bad. I was a customer of the Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We have a full chronicle. But just to finish up, I think the important thing we saw was that if we were going to do a shoe company, which we didn't care about the industry that much, it had to stand for something bigger. And what we wanted it to stand for was a no compromise solution to the 20 billion pairs of shoes that are bought and sold every single year in the world. 20 billion pairs. Yeah. 8 pairs per person per year in the U.S. Right. That we needed to stand for something we were proud to tell our kids and grandkids, and that's what we're trying to build.
So I looked up your investors, and your investors, the lead investors are Fidelity, T. Rowe Price, Otter Rock, Elephant something or other, and Leonardo DiCaprio. So what's that? There's one that stands out there. So what's the DiCaprio? Is he in for a penny or a pound?
No, a pound. And I think that one's cool. That was very organic. He's obviously famous, so that helps spread the word.
So it is the same Leo DiCaprio. Yeah.
Exactly, and he's an environmental activist that cares about global warming.
Right. And
so it's just such a great authentic tie for us. So we just thought that was a wonderful addition.
And so is he on the board? Does he come into meetings?
He's busy. He's making a movie right now.
So if you're making, to get back to the economics and business of sustainability, when you have investors and you produce, and you just had, I think you just raised $100 million. Is that right? Or $50 million. So you're giving away equity. You have investors coming in. Do they have the patience that the sustainability equation needs? Are these philanthropist investors? Are they ruthless investors that want to see a return quickly? And how does that change your behavior?
I don't mean to say this pejoratively, but the capital side is, there's a lot of money out there for businesses, and if you're going to make money for people, there's plenty of money. And these people are amazing investors. They're very long-term. They have a track record of investing in incredible businesses, and they're so patient for what we want to do. And so what they look at is, you clearly have tapped into a way to talk to consumers that makes them feel like you have an amazing product and that they feel good about buying that product, and that results in great business performance. And so I think they look at it in the same way that we do, which is our purpose is to do something great for the planet. But the fact that we're making money is a great catalyst to enable capital to come, to get great vendors to come and support our efforts, to get R&D from a company like in Brazil. These guys invested millions of dollars to make this renewable foam for us. And if we didn't have both sides of the equation taken care of, financial and environmental, there's no way we would be successful.
Where do you do your manufacturing?
It's pretty global. We take fibers for the wool from New Zealand. We take fibers from the tree from South Africa. The shoes are generally assembled. We have Italian wool mills and things like that.
Is there any kind of China moment in there?
We have assembly in southern China.
So
A small portion.
And when you look at that, I'm sort of interested when there's more and more focus on supply chains and networks and the kind of labor and environmental standards globally there. Is that something that you're big enough now to think about that when you're working with suppliers, you're also trying to get good labor standards?
I think everyone's big enough. Your first shoe should have those standards, and there's some trade-offs that you're forced to make when you're really early because they'll just turn down your business. So you have to kind of stair-step your way. But we've had incredibly high standards for every factory we've ever worked with. We're B Corp, which means we're chartered as a public benefit corporation, which means we take care of our shareholders and we also take care of environmental conservation, chartered into our bylaws. And then we also, we feel we have to report on that. Every 2 years, we have a public report we have to do. And so that is something that's in our DNA. So we've set up the company like that as a non-negotiable. And those investors you listed, the elephants and otters and tigers and whatnot.
Yeah.
We have like a zoo. It's really it is bizarre. But so those people are cool with it. And they see that this is a new way to do modern business. And you can start a business this way from the beginning and make progress.
Do you do a lot of market research?
Yes.
What are you seeing out there that we may not be realizing? Because we have a guy who works on our team who loves your shoes, and he's also sort of anti-hip, anti-fad, and he said, I like them anyway, even if they are popular with the hipsters. I'm interested in what is driving people's choice today, and how much in the consciousness they have do these issues of sustainability, environmentalism really matter in a deep way from what you're seeing versus the comfort of a product?
I hate to give you a negative answer there, but I will. I don't think people really care at the point of sales yet. So when you look at our marketing, we don't talk about sustainability when we're selling you a product. We talk about comfort, the feeling, the breathability of what happens because of the textiles we've engineered, the cushion on the bottom of the foot. We don't talk about the fact that it's carbon negative because we were able to replace petroleum with sugar. So we really believe that if you're gonna make sustainable businesses work, it truly needs to be no compromise. The products need to be amazing and they need to sell themselves. And when you put them on your feet, they're quite unique feeling. If you guys haven't tried them, I would recommend it at allbirds.com, $95. Great mobile site.
Everything's $95.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And we're selling directly to consumers, so we're able to pack in all this value into a much more affordable shoe than the traditional model of selling it through retailers. And so this is, again, it's similar. We can put the wool that we use, the particular grade of wool that we use, is used in $5,000 suits, pretty much exclusively. And we're able to take that and put it in a $95 shoe. And the only way we can do that is by trading off some of the margin we would give away to retailers to be able to sell directly. So then how do we get the marketing and the awareness up? That's about the message that we're sending overall. And the opportunity you're giving to talk with me today, which I'm very grateful for, is there's a whole group of people here that are great people thinking about the right things about what we need to do in the world. And hopefully that gives us an opportunity to talk about this. But yet, when you then go to allbirds.com or you come to our store, you're gonna buy it because it's awesome. It looks great and it feels amazing. And so we need to have both of those, and that's the kind of model that we think is important.
So when do you begin to move up your body to other things you're wearing?
When do we do that?
Yeah.
Soon.
So you have other product lines in mind?
We're gonna soon in the relative
like what's
sense.
next?
I'm like a geological time thinker, so
yeah,
keep you on your toes. But but we have never thought about ourselves as a shoe company. We've always thought about ourselves as a material company. And when you have material innovation that creates comfort, that's really
can you
unique.
give us a little bit of a hint?
No.
You're co-founder and co-CEO. Those kinds of relationships last a few years usually. How's that going? And do you expect
we're at each other's throats
drop?
every Sunday? No, it's great. I mean, Tim's background, he's a design-oriented background, really creative thinker, incredible intuitive mind for the consumer, and I'm on the material side, operations, finance, and the rest of it.
And you have a CFO.
We have a CFO, yeah.
Do you like your CFO?
She's amazing.
Yeah.
She's amazing. She's been calling me, so I gave my phone to someone else because she's bugging me. But
cost and whatnot. I guess the last thing I'd ask before going to all of you, I am interested very much in this scale because I'm intrigued with what you have done, and what would be your best advice to other innovators in this space that want to break in, that want to find perhaps to sort of dent this system in a way that's dentable in terms of whatever other frontiers out there that you think they could jump into?
Yeah, I mean, that a big part of what we were hoping to do when we started the company was to serve as a beacon for other businesses, and we were hopeful that we could do this in shoes, and then other shoe companies would come and they would kind of look at what we were doing and do something similar, and whether that invites competition or not, we always knew we would have competition if we were successful, so we didn't really care about that. We just had to keep innovating, otherwise we'd be dead anyway. But what we're really interested in now is extending that beyond footwear and apparel even. So the product that we made in Brazil, what we did was we went down there and we convinced them to invest some millions of dollars to create this carbon negative foam. It can also be a base that's not foam. It can be an adhesive, and it's used very broadly in the automotive industry as another example. It's used in other places too. So what we're hoping is that, and we then open source this so that anyone can use the product, and there's both altruistic and pragmatic reasons why we did that. And so with that, what we've tried to share and communicate very clearly is this is a win-win for everybody. We're not using this stuff as a competitive advantage. We're using this stuff as a way, because other people have ignored it, that we're going to innovate, but we're confident we'll keep innovating. And so I think one thing to take away from that story that I'm trying to share is, I think entrepreneurship in particular, business more broadly, but entrepreneurship in particular, can be an incredible way to create change. And entrepreneurs can't do it alone, and businesses can't do it alone. It really needs to work hand in glove with policy and government. And I think often businesses can lead change that then consumers articulate, and then policy comes out of the back end of that. So I do think there's different ebbs and flows of what happens. But in vacillation of administrative policy for environment, with non-progressive stuff now and progressive stuff in other eras, businesses can take a big stand there. So I think one thing to take away is that businesses can really do something special and create change for seemingly intractable problems like global warming. And the second thing I would say is have some conviction in starting a business or doing something bold, to be very clear. We said no to 1,000 things when we started the business. We had one shoe with 4 colors, and that was it. And we sold $1 million worth of shoes with 0 advertising in the first month. And it was, I think, largely because A, we had a great product, but B, we were incredibly clear about what this thing stood for. We were solving one problem: incredible comfort for a shoe that was throughout your day. We didn't really talk about sustainability at all until we had a couple of other examples that we weren't going to go beat our chest because we made something out of merino wool. We really wanted the rest of it to come out.
Right.
So I think the clarity of voice and message is incredibly important when you're trying to break through all the noise, and then I think be positive that you can make a big change.
Well, thank you. I want to go to the audience for a couple of questions here, but I do want to thank you for making size 14 shoes. Those of us who are size 14 are profoundly discriminated against. Yes, right here. Larry Vane.
Ooh, can we get her too?
Yeah, we'll get her too. Yeah, great. Now, did you have your hand up?
Oh, you got it.
I think next time raise your shoe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey. So real quick, I just want to say, you guys have a great product, and for people who haven't tried it,
you.
I bought one 2 years ago, my first pair.
Nice.
A little bit nervous because they were online, so I bought a second.
Fast form, Larry.
Okay, so great product, love it. Question is, for those who love your product, accessibility, it's all online. Do you foresee yourself in stores where we can actually go in?
Right.
And we
Brick
really
and
want to
mortar.
know about new products.
Yeah. Since we're a material and a tactile kind of experience, we have to have them. So we've built 3 so far: San Francisco, London, and New York, and we're going to build a fleet of stores because we think that's really important. And I think it works for our business, and it also works for customers, and it's a nice billboard for us. So we've always thought that's really important, and all the materials that we use are incredibly sustainable when we do these stores. The design is really quite innovative, so I'd love to show you around in San Francisco or New York or
Great. Yes, ma'am, right here. Who are you?
Hi, my name's Debbie.
Hi, Debbie.
Debbie.
Thanks. My brother and I have
Nice
matching
taste in shoes, yeah.
Yeah, thanks. That was actually one of my questions, but my other question, because I was curious about sort of the aspect of sustainability in expanding retail and the point of sale, but you kind of just spoke to that.
Yeah.
Can you speak to sort of the full cycle of fashion and what happens when someone's shoes expire? What do you think your responsibility is at that point?
Yeah.
And just curious your opinion about that
So hold
with
on.
respect
When
to
someone's shoes expire,
yeah, like when I can't use my
is there
Asics
like
anymore,
a date? Is this like food?
they tear. There's
oh,
holes
I see.
in
Okay,
them.
got it. I needed to tool
These
up on
shoes
that.
explode
yeah,
after 2 years.
Yeah, I use the
It's a
term
business.
Sounds like
expire.
the yogurt or
back.
something.
Right.
Yeah, you cannot wear this sustainable shoe.
Right. This
Yeah.
is like Mission Impossible here. Like I can't do
Yeah.
my job
Right.
anymore because
Yeah.
the shoes don't work. But I'll bring my sneaks back to Nike because they say they recycle them, for
Yeah.
example.
Right.
Can you speak to that
Yeah.
in how you think about your
Yeah,
business?
for sure. And I think that it's the way that we think sustainable design means encompassing the entire life cycle of a product from the very first fiber that comes in, the first molecule, to what happens at the end of life. And so we have small programs that we've done to implement very similar to the one you described. We have a partnership with a group called Souls for Souls, which gives them another life, and people actually keep wearing them even though when they're not great for you, they're still okay for others in developing parts of the world. But that is a critical way that every company that's starting today should be thinking. It's a full cradle-to-cradle mindset of how's the packaging look? What happens to the packaging after? What happens when these shoes end up in landfills? I remember one of the impetus that we had for starting this business, we read the Cradle to Cradle book, and in the introduction they said there's 20 billion pairs of shoes that are left in landfills every year. And if you're not thinking about the materials that go into those, the impact is so significant and it's such a scourge on the earth that somebody has to lead in this. So that was an exciting challenge for me, and I think we absolutely think in that way, and yet we have lots of room to improve. But our LCA, our life cycle analysis that we do on every single shoe, contemplates the entire life cycle, and then we bake that and we try to improve every single day.
Fascinating. Thank you. Before we
having
leave, Speaker of the House Paul Ryan wears your shoe. Vice President Joe Biden wears your shoes. With whom are you more comfortable?
We're a bipartisan shoe.
Yeah, we're bipartisan.
Those aren't the role models that we talk about.
Were you shocked when
personally?
Paul Ryan was, you weren't even involved in that. He paid $95 like everybody else, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't give shoes to
And
politicians.
did Joe buy his shoes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Good.
I don't know how he got them. But yeah,
Excellent.
We got
So, yeah,
no, we have. By the way, we have a lot cooler people than that wearing the shoes. Just so everyone's aware. But thank you, Steve, for showing our bright spots.
Yeah. President Trump, shows up in your shoes, you'll be fine. Just wanted to end there. Joey Zwillinger, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Allbirds.